Hey, what's going on, guys? This is going to cover my spear builds, how I run spear whenever DPSing. So we're going to start out with the stat structure. We would go with 350 strength, 221 dex is what we have on this build, 50 int, 25 focus, and 50 con. The one that's a variable one is really the dex side of it, but I recommend 350 minimum, um, 20 at least 50 for 50 con, 25 focus, and the 50 int. Now, some of them you can choose not to run. You can choose not to run the focus. You can choose not to run the int. But strength, dex, and the con settings are pretty much where you want to be to really see your damage shine when using the spear out there and using getting as much as you can out of the build. The main reason is 350. You get 10% base damage increase to abilities and the final attack of your melee attack chain. Really huge. On Dex here, you're going to get 10% more backstab and headshot damage when you're at 200 on Dex. And if you're meleeing and DPSing, you should always be attacking from the back. The only time this will be a problem if you're fighting a boss like Scylla out there that is out there that you may not that who doesn't have a backside, then of course this wouldn't mean anything, right? But that's the only downside. Other than that, it's going to always be an active thing for you to utilize. The 50 int, I know some are saying intellect on a melee build. Yeah, why? Well, if you look at the if you look at the 25, you get 5% damage increase to backstabs and random crits. You critting all the time on the back. And you get those random crits when you are maybe not hitting the back, you hit somewhere else. That's going to be able to count for it too. And then you see here, 50, you get 5% base damage increase to targets inflicted with a damage over time effect. Well, when you run this build, you're going to be running Skewer, and it applies a bleed, which counts as a damage over time ability, which means we get another bonus of 5%. So these two together will equal an extra 10% damage. 25, and also 25 focus will get our ability cooldowns down. With the spear itself, the spear gets its cooldowns relatively quickly, so you don't really need it. But when running attuned leather pants, you have so many stats to utilize. It's kind of a no-brainer. Why not pick it? Get our cooldowns and back even faster. It'll also help your offhand weapon to be up quicker, so you can throw those maelstroms and do the. So you can throw those grabs and do the maelstroms more often as needed for the group in the run. I also recommend you doing the 50% 50 con because you get that 5% there on your physical armor. Now, let's talk the actual weapon tree here. And I run for the weapon tree, I run Cyclone, I run Perforate, and I run Skewer. You would want to just copy what you see here. And damage rotations typically for this weapon would be starting out with a Skewer on whatever target you're about to engage, followed quickly by a Perforate right after. And then we want to then go to our Cyclone when needed as far as the clump. So 1, 2, and 3, right? And if you're running the setup with the build I have right now, you will see that you will get a nice chunk of health back with Leeching Cyclone. And when you use your Perforate, you're going to get fortified with Fortifying Perforate. So that is why you want to do it in that order. We go in with the Skewer to reduce the damage that's coming out. And then we go into the Perforate so that we can get our Fortify and then the Cyclone to heal up if we've taken any other damage that we need to be worried about. So that is basically how you want to do that. Just take these nodes here and you'll see once you read them how they all kind of play off of what you're doing with the build. Now let's take a look at the armor. For the armor, weapons, let's start with the weapons. I'm running the Hoplite Spear. This comes with disdained infliction and also keenly jagged. If you are not able to get the hoplite spear as of right now, let's say you're working towards getting there, but you need a spear to do it, I would recommend the life ring spear. You will see a lot of people probably doing it in the global chat or recruitment chat asking go do life ring. It is a spear that drops with already keenly jagged and vicious on it, and then you can just slap a skewer on it, and you've got pretty much a really good solid spear to use for just about any activity. Vicious, keenly jagged, and also fielding skewer is still a very good combo. But a lot of us are moving towards sustained infliction with enfeebling, and honestly, keenly jagged's not really even needed as much as it used to be. So this would actually be better as like some sort of attunement on this. So it would honestly be great if I could have sustained affliction Enfeebling Skewer, and Attunement on my spear. So that may be a later on upgrade. My offhand's just a 2-perker GS right now. With running Greatsword, if you're not using Serenity, the biggest thing to have would be Trenchant Strikes. Trenchant Crits are good, but Trenchant Strikes are really just S tier. But all of the strats play into both weapons, as both Greatsword and Spear do scale off of Strength or Dex. On the gear, you will see now here where we have Fortifying Perforate on the pants, the tuned leather pants. I put this on my tuned leather pants because, as you can see, I have Fire, Ice, Nature, and Void builds, all utilizing Spear with the tuned pants. So it was a no-brainer for me to utilize this with the Fortifying Perforate to make sure we get that Fortify. You can see there, Perforate hits gain a stack of Fortify, increasing armor by 10% for 6 seconds at a max of 3 stacks. Now, that is absolutely amazing, giving you those stacks of fortifying there. So it's awesome. Then on the boots here, we do have Leeching Cyclone. Cyclone hits heal you for 35% of the damage done, works in clumps, all that good stuff. It is a great way to shoot yourself from almost dying up to damn near not having any health missing at all. So I highly recommend you to put these 2 perks on your gear when running Spear. Perforate and also Leeching Cyclone are very good. And from there, as usual, per usual, Enchanted Ward, Enchanted Ward, Enchanted Ward, and Enchanted Ward. It is S tier. S tier, hands down, one of the best perks for running damage in this game as a damage dealer. Put it on your gear. Get it there. Do it now. As far as jewelry, I recommend always health on your necklace, and then whatever elemental resist you need or physical resist you need for the activity you're doing, i.e. strike, protection, or slash, and or any of the other elements out there. For the ring, I recommend running thrust with Hardy. Hardy and thrust is huge. Main reason being Hardy allows you to double dodge without stamming your character, relieving you with still 10 points of stam left. So it's huge having Hardy on your rings. As far as bloodletting, it's not really necessary, but it's okay to have there. Leeching will be better, honestly. If I had thrust damage, Hardy Leeching, that would make this S+ tier for me, just because we want to make that Leeching ability from Cyclone or any other weapon with Leeching stronger, right? Then for the earring, as always, I'm a big fan of Nimble and also all the refreshing abilities, especially Refreshing Toast. And you should be running 4 out of 4 refreshing. This build is still being refined a little bit, but 4 out of 4 refreshing is what you would want to run. Right now we're 3 out of 4, so F for me, but we're getting there to get this build refined correctly. As you can see, we have multiple builds. We have a build for each element, and this is kind of what a speedrunner setup would be. We always make builds in which we are able to quick swap in between running from areas to areas. Allows us to be the most optimal with the little amount of time needed to get ready to be able to engage the next group and or boss. As far as runes are concerned, as far as heart runes, I really haven't covered this much in any of my other videos, but when it comes down to it, Rending Vines is S tier in my opinion. Detonate's okay, but Rending Vines is very strong. As you can see there, reducing the target's armor by 20%. Reduce your stamina regeneration by 50% for 5 seconds, and then also inflicts weakening on hit, reduces the target's damage by 20%. So you're nerfing their damage and you're nerfing their armor. So you're making them harder to kill, making them easier to kill, and making them do less damage. So good, especially for in-game fights, Gorgon, all that stuff. Make sure you got some Rending Vines in your group, and you're gonna love it. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for the build. If you got any questions, check me out at twitch.tv/BabyFNelson. I'll see y'all on the next one. Have a good one.